Committee of the Common Council. I'm here joined by Councilor Manto, who represents the Eastwood area, Councilor Paniagua, and Councilor Nave, and Mr. Simmons, of course, is from the SHA. This concerns a proposal that was given to the Common Council regarding sort of an unusual trade between Eastwood Heights and the West Taylor property that SHA owns. And so I'm gonna open it up and ask Mr. Simmons sort of to go over what he's gone over with the council beforehand regarding how this all came about, what's needed, and what we can expect in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Hogan, and thanks for this opportunity to meet with the committee. Joining me today are two members from the Rochester Cornerstone Group, Robert and Ryan, and they'll talk a little bit about the scope of the project. But just for a general overview, it was several years ago that we had some major leaking roofs at the Eastwood Heights. And let me just back up a little bit further to say that the city of Syracuse owns the Eastwood Heights and has for some 53 years. And from the very beginning, the Syracuse Housing Authority has been managing it. We've had some leaky roofs in the building. The windows don't work. Many of our senior development or senior residents have a hard time lifting the windows. The new improvements will give electrical outlets so that we'll be in compliance with the city and state coding for electrical outlets. And we'll also be looking at central air conditioning, doing the heating vacant systems, HCV systems, and putting in all new bathrooms, renovating the bathrooms and kitchens and cabinets and a number of other things that the Rochester Cornerstone will work you through. But as we pointed out earlier, the property is 3.48 acres over on Sunnycrest, and as I mentioned, it was developed in 1989. We're going to be preserving 2.67 acres. The other 0.8 of an acre, the city will be keeping for future use. And then some of the key components, we lined up 9% tax credit program for funding. This is our second year we applied for it. We got it this year, so we're really happy about that. And New York State has been a big partner with us.
Are you able to provide that application to us?
The application for
the 9%.
The application that we gave the New York State?
Yes.
I'll check with them.
Thank you.
And your name is?
Counselor Williams.
Okay, Bill Simmons. Yep.
Pleasure to meet you. And for the audience, I asked if they were able to provide the 9% LIHTC application.
And yes.
Just so we're there, how many, it's 49 units now, you're adding 4, so it'll be 53 total?
Yes, 53 total.
Okay, so
you're adding some additional units. We're going to be spending $25.7 million overall. About a little over 16 million will be in hard costs in the building. We scheduled for a closing in January of 2025, and the construction will take about 14 months. And again, even the construction will take place in January of 2025. This dollar commitment will ensure the long-term viability for the building for the seniors and disabled residents who currently live there, and they will continue to live in that building. And I'm sure there'll be some questions, and we'll talk a little bit about how that redevelopment will work with the residents pretty much in place. We have, again, this handout outlines the income of all the residents and we talk a little bit about the improvements going into the neighborhood, electrification, windows, roofs, heating and air conditioning systems, putting a patio out for the residents in that neighborhood, windows, kitchens, bathrooms, all the kinds of things that was approved from our 9% application with the state. Some of the revenue that will be coming into the city is that there'll be a pilot agreement. As you know, there's a standard pilot agreement, and there'll be a minimum of $55,000 every year coming to.
It's already gone through CITA?
Yes.
Bill?
Well, it has gone through HCR, and it'll be, I think it'll probably have to, it may have gone through site already, but it definitely will. It's a standard pilot agreement.
Is it pilot? I thought it was shelter rent.
Same difference.
Shelter rent, yes.
Well, not the same thing.
No, they're not.
CITA gives pilot agreements. The shelter rent is usually worked out with our Commissioner of Assessment.
Right, and that's what we've done.
Okay, so
But
that's
the
a
dollar amount is roughly the
That's sort
same.
of, because I said, no, pilot agreement, it's not what we
Yeah.
do.
So the dollar amount is going to be $55,000 a year to the city, which you currently don't receive right now. And yeah, it'll be a huge. We'll have some electric vehicle stations and. Looking at few of the hearing units, but most of the things on this second page I've pretty much outlined. And so I'll stop and take questions on that before Rochester Cornerstones walks you through the scope of work. Any questions on the first page?
No, I think, our concern, of course, was, on this project was more about the unusual sort of arrangement as far as the trade goes of properties. But obviously, we want to maintain Eastwood Heights. We've always been firmly behind Eastwood Heights. I've had many conversations with Councilor Manto regarding this, that of course, anything we can do to make that a really nice facility, we'll be supportive of. I think we didn't know you were going to go to LIHTC, which is low-income tax credits, which is okay. I obviously, they can be used as far as renovating the place and adding 4 more apartments. So, but I don't have any questions. I just want to make sure that we're on board as far as that goes. What the council's asked for is an appraisal of both properties. So we know what if we do approve the trade, it's not like, trading a shortstop from the Yankees to the Cincinnati Reds or something. We want to make sure that the appraisals of the properties are even. So,
Councilor, may I?
Sure, go on.
It's my understanding that site control is required for a LIHTC application. How were you able to prove site control for your application when you currently don't have it?
The city made put a letter of commitment that once the property closed, we'll get the site.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting since, we haven't, actually
Yeah.
done it yet.
Well, I think that, we had been before the council several years ago.
Right.
When we were presenting this whole idea, and at that time, we were going to purchase the property for $1.4 million, which was the appraised value. As we moved on, because this Eastwood Heights is a part of a, 11-year $11 billion redevelopment process. When the city and Blueprint 15 wanted a federal property, we said, well, let's look at and see if there's an equal in value in land, and we can make a land swap. The benefit of the land swap is that when we originally came to you 2 years ago, we had $1.4 million in the purchase cost, and we'd have to, pay it off as a mortgage over time. Now, with the land swap, you don't have, that's $1.4 million going into the building for the residents.
If the appraisals are,
Well,
it's
if the-
incumbent upon us, as city representatives, to make sure that appraisals are city appraisals. So,
Correct.
So we're waiting for them before we actually vote on things. So I think, unless there's other questions, I think we can go to Cornerstone.
I think, Councilor, if you wouldn't mind, can you give us a little more detail on the letter of commitment provided by the city? When it came, who it came from, any additional information? Because I believe it's the first that we're all hearing of that up here.
The city, now, when the city presented last week, they didn't talk about that at all?
Did you hear about the letter
No,
of
I
commitment?
mean, I think we probably assumed that there was some sort of a commitment, otherwise you wouldn't have been all.
Well, correct, because when we talked about this 2 years ago, it was for the sale of the land. And so you're not going to get the sale of the land or the transfer of the land until the closing takes place, which would include a loan for the the $1.4 million going to the city, and then through the LIHTC would pay off that over a
I
period
don't
of
know.
time.
Deputy Mayor maybe can clear this up for us.
Yes, in typical arrangements with LIHTC projects, a developer will come to the city to see if they can, if we're in support of the project. HCR will always look to the municipality, and in the history of Syracuse, we've worked with HCR to give our thumbs up or thumbs down. We hardly ever thumbs down because we need affordable housing in the city. So that is a standard process. So they will know whether or not the project is even feasible by talking to the city. And we committed to this project. We want to see Eastwood Heights redeveloped.
Deputy Mayor, now, I thought Bill said that he had applied, this is the second time they've applied.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's typical.
Okay, yeah, I know,
That's
it's
typical.
usually the second time you get it.
Yeah, there's always a queue of projects, and so usually it's typical.
So in other words, the actual transfer of property would happen after this deal would come before the council, correct?
Yes, so that's
But you
what-
need the property in order to maintain it.
You
So-
need the property to
make-
get the approval and get the funding from HCR. And
Right.
so our process, of course, is that in order to make that happen, we have to come before the council, which has started this conversation. Okay?
What's the timeline here? We give you the property and then the light tech is done, or what?
Well, the light tech has been approved for the project, and so you would close,
Located on us, turn the property,
correct.
okay.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And the commitment, I'm sorry, Bill, and the commitment, we always typically, it's all contingent upon council approval. The city's commitment has to be contingent upon council's approval.
Okay, we cleared that up now, because that hadn't been said before.
Okay.
Is that okay, Councilor Williams? We finally got this? Okay.
So, and when the Housing Authority did the original appraisals, because obviously this has to be approved by HUD, because HUD property involved, they want to see equal value, and we did our appraisals back in 2023 or 22. Naturally, the city has to do theirs, their own, and bring them to you, but we
I think the
anticipate.
appraisals I saw were 2021 and 2022, I think.
Probably,
So-
but obviously, you'll get a more updated appraisal that I think will be equal in scope. And also, you got to realize that we're not getting the full property. The city's keeping, one-eighth of the property as well. And your city's going to also be getting $55,000 a year through the, tax shelter rent. So you're going to be getting more money than over, a 15-year period of time. So it should all work out.
Okay. Any other questions about the financials?
Okay.
At Eastwood. So we're going to go to these folks, and they're going to tell us what a wonderful place they're going to put together for our residents in Eastwood.
If we can, let's break down the 25.7 million as much as we can as to where it's going in the building.
Let's start with the developer's fee. Is there a developer's fee?
There is a developer's fee, yes.
And what is that?
The developer's fee is, oh, yes.
So Ryan Brandt from Rochester's Cornerstone Group.
And Robert Grunert Loud from Rochester's Cornerstone Group. The developer's fee is limited to 12% of the total project costs. We actually brought the developer fee down a little bit as well, just to balance the numbers when we submitted our application.
Okay. What's the number there, lad?
Approximately $2.5 million.
Okay.
And then included in that is permanent deferred fee. So I think as a lot of you know, would come out of cash flow that kind of keeps money in the deal, so to speak. So the property has to be operated well for that deferred fee to be able to be paid out over time.
So the percentage is about 12%, you're saying?
That's total developer fee that by year 12, either during the construction or during
Because usually
operations, have to be paid.
private developer, just from my experience, is usually around 7 or so, 7 and 8. Am I wrong or what?
A little different on the affordable housing side of things.
more?
It's a little bit more just because the property is not going to cash flow as much in the long term.
Because we've
So-
limited,
Yeah.
obviously, the rents.
Exactly.
So how much
the
of the
rents are
2.5 in the front end and how much is deferred?
I believe approximately $900,000 is deferred, so that would be $1.6 million.
6 up front and then
Yes.
900,000 over 12 years?
Yes.
But just to clarify, up front, there's a small portion of that's paid at construction closing, but then any overruns, of course, come right at developer fees, right? It's so that the risk is on us, and actually Cornerstone Group is the one providing the construction guarantees, both for overruns, construction completion, environmental during construction, and all of that. So there's it's there's some risk involved in it, and I guess just to speak to the fee, it's as we found out here, it's 2 years of funding applications. We first met with SHA actually and the residents in 2021, I believe it was, and we were picked as a developer partner. So the gestational period is a lot longer for these typically than market rate, and the last few years have been kind of strange for everybody with cost and rates going crazy. But
So you met with residents in Eastwood?
several times, yeah.
Several
Most
times?
recently, an hour ago at 1 o'clock.
And how they receive this, what they're going to get?
I would say pretty. They're pretty excited about it. There's certainly some anxiety. I think some of them are here today, just to be expected, right? It's a big change for them. But we've done a number of these, so we've have experience with them. But we know it's every project's different, and every resident's different with their needs and their concerns, and so it's been a long process since we first met with them. Again, 2021 to be picked as a developer partner, then 2022, and I don't know how many meetings we've had, but I would guess to say 5 or 6 with them over the years. 'Cause, you submit the application, and it's kind of hurry up and wait, right? There's not a whole lot going on. So our next meeting, we're hoping to finally have a construction closing date to provide to them, and then relocation dates that we can give them. All right, here's when your unit's going to be worked on, and so that was, I would say, the source of most of their anxieties. Naturally, is just wanting to know exactly when their unit's going to be worked on.
Have you worked on past projects? You have experience?
We do. So we're primarily Rochester and Buffalo. We manage Catherine Street Apartments and Star Park here in the city of Syracuse. Those are for Helio Health. That's new construction. But we recently completed a 220-unit project in Buffalo called Ellicott Park Townhomes earlier this year. One down in Perry, New York. We've had a lot of experience with rehabs
So
over
you
the past
had
10
this
years.
bill, were there other bids? Did
Yes.
you go out bidding?
Yeah, what we do is we send out a request for proposal. In this particular case, we had about 5 firms that responded. We got down to 2 finalists. As a part of the interviewing, we had the residents interview them as well. And by small margin, Rochester Cornerstone was the successful proposal.
Okay, so you've had experience in dealing with redevelopment. Okay, thank you.
Just for clarification, so you're the developer, are you acting as the general contractor as well?
We do not have a general contracting arm. It's Pike Construction.
Okay.
So we have a lot of experience with them, with Pike Construction, but no affiliation, and we're just the developer, and SHA would remain as the property management agent.
So let's go back to the residents for a second. So how many are going to be displaced at once?
We're looking to do about 5 units at a time.
Okay, so do we have an actual point person that handles those 5 people that are off-site at a hotel somewhere? Or how do we do that? Is that a joint effort between you and?
That's correct. It's a
SHA?
joint effort between
Okay,
SHA
okay,
and Rochester Cornerstone.
Okay. When's the last time we did something like this?
Syracuse Housing Authority does it all the time.
Okay,
Whenever
okay.
we rehab Burnett Towers and Ross Towers, we do this all the time, manage in place.
Okay. Have we done it since COVID? Have we done it recently within the last couple of years, like
Yeah.
relocations on this scale?
Yeah, well, when we had the big fire over at Burnett Towers, we had to move a lot of folks.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Our last one was June of 2024. We finished one in Buffalo. That was 30 to 40 households out of their time at either unit at any given time. And that was larger households too, families with children. So that was quite an undertaking. But as mentioned, it's uprooting these people's lives. So we take that very seriously.
So is everybody going to be taken care of? I mean, you have numbers to numbers.
So we'll have probably 5 units at a time. Takes about 45 days to complete each unit. The residents will be given an option. We have a contract with a hotel in East Syracuse that has a suite, and they will be able to go there, or they'll be able to take a fee and go live with a family member or resident.
Right, but how many units are moving into Eastwood? So there's the 53, but are there any leftovers? Like, are there more people where they're coming from to Eastwood?
Well, there'll be 3 new apartments, so 3 new residents.
3 or 4?
So there's
Four
only,
new.
4 new
So
residents.
there's 49 current apartments at Eastwood Heights.
Oh, that's my question.
Yeah, so the residents are, they're going back to their units. So there may be some one-way transfers if it works out, if they want to do it. And obviously, anybody who wants to goes back to their original unit. And then there's the 4 new units being added to the one of the gymnasiums, the old gymnasiums.
So are we building the new 4 units first and then moving 4 current residents into those new units?
It'll be concurrent, basically starting at the same time. So it's going to be kind of, it's at the edge of the building, still within same footprint. So we're not changing the footprint, but I think we are looking at that as a possible one-way transfer, right, of people possibly being able to move there if it's
Yes.
towards the end of the relocation.
The new units take considerably longer to build than the rehab units. So once we start construction on the rehab units, we are also simultaneously going to start construction on the new units. And once the new units are ready, those will be available for one-way transfers if a resident doesn't want to take the hotel option.
Okay.
So it's like eight units, mobility impaired units for folks like that. You even got some units, which it's the first time I've seen something like this where units as far
Correct.
as hearing impairment too?
Yes, we are exceeding the required minimums for fully adapted type A handicapped accessible apartments. The minimum is 10%, we're doing 15%. And then also we have units for hearing and visually impaired residents as well.
And this is a New York State requirement. We have them at Freedom Commons and the Homes of Syracuse as well.
And I see here there'll be no cost of for storage for anyone.
Right.
Correct. Moving as well, we've got a professional licensed bonded moving company that'll help them both pack and move all their belongings.
At no cost to anyone.
Right. Yeah.
You think, any other questions?
Let's keep talking about the 25 million. So after the development fee, where's the money going into the building?
The construction contract is approximately $18.7 million in hard costs.
16.8.
16.8, sorry. Little dyslexia there. Yes, so the construction contract, that's the actual hard costs for the rehabilitation. Then there are contingencies. We have a 10% hard cost contingency, a 5% soft cost contingency. Interest is over just about $2 million, just because the rates are through the roof at the moment.
What are the rates?
Right now, we are underrating 7.3% for construction loan interest.
It's down from 8, though.
Yeah, it's about $1.9 million just for construction loan interest for a 24-month construction loan. And then there are all of our professional service contracts, the architect's agreement, engineer, environmental, legal fees, relocation as well, $264,000 for relocation in the budget. So, yes, and the total project cost has actually been stripped as much as we possibly can get it.
Give us the breakdown of the bedrooms again. One bedroom, how many, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom?
So right now the building is 49 one-bedroom apartments. When it's complete, it will be 52 one-bedroom apartments with 1 studio apartment.
So 53 brand-new kitchens, 53 brand-new bathrooms.
Yes.
Roof, that roof's about $1 million, Bill, is that what you said?
Yes, the roof is going to be completely replaced. All
Windows
of them,
too?
Windows?
Yeah.
Windows are being completely replaced. We're replacing all of the HVAC systems within the building. Right now, the building currently does not have air conditioning. We are adding that as part of the building, of the renovation, doing a full building electrification as well, and we're keeping the gas service because there's a backup generator in case of power failure. So that is the only thing that's going to be remaining on the gas service. But pretty much the building, all building systems are in need of replacement. Windows, flooring, painting, cabinets, countertops, appliances, everything.
So the turnaround, when you're talking about 5 people moving out, how long will they be out, you think?
About 45 days.
45 days? Okay.
The flooring takes a good chunk of that. I know it is a long time period, and we've had some others where we've started a little bit shorter, but it typically ends up around 40 to 45 days, unfortunately. So
One of the things that the residents wanted was a nice patio in the back. They'll be getting that as well. So just as they, Rochester Cornerstone points out, the partnership has been from the very beginning when we final selection of the developer and having resident input in terms of what they want to see in the building.
I mean, the building's 100 years old almost.
Yeah.
It is. It is,
yeah.
like 1926, so.
Yeah, and it's tired. My grandmother lived there, for a decade, so it's tired, but it's still people's homes. I'm just concerned that, we're disrupting people, so it's
We're trying to make it better.
I know.
Most of them are
I know.
complaining about the windows and the
Yeah.
leaky roofs, and so it's going to be better.
So all the common areas will be renovated as well?
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, everything inside, okay.
Yes, we're renovating all the common areas, and then And we are adding, so there's currently a community room. We're renovating that, adding fully accessible bathrooms, which it currently does not have in the community room, expanding the kitchenette in the community room. There's also going to be an employee break room that's being added, accessible bathrooms just in the common areas, as well as a computer lounge.
Security upgrades?
Yes, right now the building currently has a Genetec security system. We are going to be adding cameras to that as well, and we're reconfiguring the front lobby for both accessibility and security.
Certainly looking at the per unit cost, it's high, but it's there's a lot of common space in the building, right? It's wide hallways, a lot of amenities that exist there. That the food pantry is being preserved as well. That's a great asset that the building has. And it's in terms of the cost, just to circle back on that, it's reviewed by HCR as part of the application, reviewed by the bank now. It's Chase is doing the construction financing. They have a third-party reviewer that looks at the cost. So there's people probably know these projects have a lot of oversight, a lot of different eyes looking at it. Doesn't mean that the cost isn't high, it certainly is, but there's been there's the term sheet limits too that we were within, and we were kind of bumped up against all those limits, as most projects are these days, to be feasible with how expensive everything's gotten. But that's part of, I guess, to why the proposed land swap really helped the project out. Instead of adding $1.4 million to the ask of the state, or to the for resources, to try and stay within those term limits, to stay feasible, and to have a funding application that really helped us get there and still provide all these amenities and meet everything we wanted to do.
You're putting the patio on Sunnycrest side or Avon side?
Avon.
I guess timing is going to be important here, of course, and this, we're waiting for the appraisals, and then the council will decide whether to approve the suggestion, the proposal about the trade, but that'll all be predicated on, of course, the appraisals. Are you prepared to fill out what you want to do as far as the trade goes, Bill? Or, I mean, as far as so everybody's satisfied, because I know everybody's got time constraints on this, correct?
Yes. And so I'm still not sure of the question.
Well, I'm just talking about, we got also people question us about the Taylor piece of property too,
Right.
Because they're under certain time constraints too. I just want to make sure everything meshes together.
Yeah.
When we vote, that we know this is going to all happen.
Yeah.
If the appraisals are the same.
Right. Well, we're looking to close on this property in January. Hopefully, you'll have your appraisals, I think, maybe December 5th.
Well, we approved, actually, we had a waiver agenda yesterday to approve the appraisals, and I think they said about 30 days, hopefully, so.
Yeah, so that piece should work out, and then we move forward with the renovation of this building, and then we're still working things through with HCR and HUD. Is a little bit more complicated, but conceptually, HUD has signed off on the project because they know these are two properties that the housing authority is going to be owning and managing, and it's going to be a big investment for the residents in these two communities. So
Well, you're all prepared to give the property over to children, for the Children's Rising Center, correct?
as soon as all of the, everything goes
Sure,
through.
all the
Yes.
paperwork and all
All
that,
that's
because,
moving
I mean, if we're gonna go through this, we wanna
Right.
make sure it's simultaneous and nobody's suffering any kind of
Right.
problems as far as the time goes.
Yeah, with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, there's a few extra steps, but conceptually, they have signed off on the land swap.
Okay, they have signed off
Yes.
on the land swap. Where's the deputy mayor? She's still here? Oh, are you coordinating this? If we approve as far as the swap goes, everything should go smoothly as far as the property's transferred and all that?
Yes, everything should go smoothly. I am engaged because of my dual role. My partner in this good work is Stephanie Pasquale, who was
I think she
here.
snuck in here. I think she's in the back
Snuck in
row.
and
We
snuck
saw her.
out.
Yeah.
But she is leading the charge on the Children's Rising Center.
Okay.
So it's November 26th, so if we're talking about January, do the first 5 people know it, who they are? First 5 that will be displaced yet?
Not yet. We just had a meeting earlier today.
Okay.
Residents want to know what's going to start. Developer said we'll be back once we get a little closer to January.
I can always ask for volunteers if you want. I think we got enough of them
Yeah.
here.
There's a lot of people looking
You know?
There will be about a month period between the construction finance closing and the relocation happening. So construction technically will start, but it's, you call it phasing or,
Yeah, there,
I can't think of the word.
there's some enabling work that needs to
enabling.
happen before, and also when we're talking January, we're talking January 30th. So it's practically February. We're estimating the first residents will be moving out of their units either in March or April. Per the Uniform Relocation Act, we're required to provide the 30-day notice of non-displacement and temporary relocation, which we're going to do. But we're going to give them more than 30 days, probably 45 days, and just, assure them and provide the packing assistance as needed.
I question, so when they move out, how are they able to provide their own meals? Do they have a kitchen in the hotels?
It's an,
Yeah.
correct. It's an extended stay suites, long-term suites. There's a kitchen in the hotel and
Yeah.
kitchenette.
The hotel is kitchenette with pots, pans, dishes, cups, silverware, everything, refrigerator. It's a hotel designed for people to stay in long term. The hotel also has free laundry, a bunch of amenity spaces for congregating, as well as, once it gets warmer, an outdoor patio area with a barbecue pit. So we think this option is going to be pretty comfortable for the residents.
But I think the council's question was about U.S. mail, right?
Well,
did I misunderstand?
that's another question. I'm glad you brought that up, Counselor. That was
But,
coming
okay, no,
up.
if they answered your question, fine.
But
I
no,
think
let's talk about how we're gonna with the mail.
We've done it several different ways in the past, and something we plan to roll out, in the month or two beforehand, where sometimes people just they'll put a hold on it and they go pick it up. I know that's probably not going to be a good situation for a lot of the seniors who live at the site, but we've had in the past, bringing mail to people type of thing. We've had 3 or 4 different ways we've done it in the past.
But they got their own mailboxes, right? So there'd be no problem
At the
just
property,
walking
right.
in and checking their mail.
Yep.
Exactly. The building is still going to be open. There's just going to be some residents will be in temporary relocation, while a majority of the residents will still be in the building.
Because it's in stacks that will be working, so first, second, third floor, it's not going to be like the whole first floor is under construction and second, third. It's just really going to be kind of corners of the building that'll be closed off.
So you're gonna let the tenants decide if they want to go first, who wants to go first.
I think the contractor
Is
is
that right?
working. The contractor is working to figure out
Or
where
are they
it makes
going
sense
floor
to
by
start through the
floor?
building.
Okay.
It's in stacks, primarily driven by plumbing. You don't want to be renovating an apartment on the first floor and somebody on the third floor flushes the toilet.
Now, I just want a side question. Has this always been a smoke-free facility?
Yeah, the public housing, Syracuse Housing Authority was one of the first smoke-free public housing authorities in the country.
And you don't grandfather this, right? You said this is smoke-free.
Right, they've been smoke-free for over 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, I had to ask that question. Thank
And
you.
as part of our application, we did have to sign and submit a smoke-free certification, and the project will be smoke-free
Okay.
during the period of the regulatory agreement.
Any other questions from my colleagues? Any comments you want to make, Bill, anymore?
Yeah, we just was grateful that we had the time to kind of have an opportunity to give you a little more briefing on the project and update. And we got a lot of things going on with this project and the new 15th Ward. And so what I'm putting together is a schedule of events that, you guys will have and the clerk will have. So if there's going to be further council approval or anything else that needed, then we can have these meetings in a timely manner. And so we're working on that as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's always important to keep us aware of things. I think it works a lot smoother that way.
Sure.
Okay, hearing no other questions, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, second, thank you.
Okay.
Too shabby.
Hey, Matt, don't go anywhere.
Good seeing you, Bill.
Good luck with it.